Jacobo Grinberg, the Mexican researcher and mystic, spoke about a universal field of consciousness, a fabric of energy connecting all visible and invisible things. But what happens when someone so connected and conscious, someone on a spiritual path, finds themselves in conflict with something as earthly as money? Why do so many spiritual people face financial difficulties, even when they seek to live in balance with the abundance of the universe? Today we're going to explore a deep and sometimes uncomfortable topic: the relationship between spirituality and money. This isn't about demonizing or glorifying money, but about looking at it from a place of clarity. For many people, especially those on a spiritual journey, money becomes difficult territory. It's seen as something that goes against the purity of their values. But what if, instead of seeing it as something negative, we start seeing it as neutral, an energy available to be used with intention? To understand why money can be such a complicated subject for spiritual people, it's important first to grasp a fundamental idea. Money does not have a nature in itself. It is simply energy in the form of paper or numbers. Like a blank canvas, money takes the color and purpose that we give it. It is neutral, not good, not bad. We assign it value, intention, and sometimes even emotion. But how did we come to see money as so emotionally charged? For generations, humanity has associated money with greed, ego, and corruption. These beliefs have been reinforced by stories, experiences, and observations about material behavior. Yet this is only one of many ways to see money. Like any resource, money can be a vehicle for ego or a tool for well-being and service. Imagine money like water. Just as water adapts to any container, it can flow and go where we guide it. Just as water can be used to quench thirst or to water a seed that will grow, money can serve us to create well-being or to meet needs. Its true nature is neither negative nor positive. It is an energy that can be used in multiple ways. So why do some people believe that money and spirituality are in conflict? One obstacle is the belief that, to be spiritual, one must renounce the material. The idea that the desire for economic prosperity is incompatible with a life of consciousness is something that has persisted over time. But this is where we need to pause and reflect. Do we really need to reject the material to be spiritual? Or can we accept that money is part of this world, this physical plane we inhabit? Being spiritual does not mean living in scarcity. In fact, by rejecting money, we sometimes disconnect ourselves from opportunities to manifest our gifts and talents. When a spiritual person closes themselves off from the possibility of receiving material abundance, they limit their capacity to make an impact and to grow. By rejecting the material, we are often denying a part of our own nature, because in this physical world, every resource has the potential to become an expression of love and service, including money. For those who seek to live in harmony with the universe, money can be a tool that enhances their abilities, their projects, their life mission. It can help them expand their message, reach more people, and create positive change. It is not a contradiction. Money, viewed from a conscious perspective, is like an extension of our energy. But this can only happen when we stop seeing it as an obstacle or as an enemy of our spirituality. If we are honest, money is simply a reflection of the beliefs we hold. It is a manifestation of our mind and our perceptions. Why? Because when someone believes that money is something negative, or that the pursuit of material resources takes them away from their spiritual purpose, they automatically create mental and emotional barriers that prevent them from seeing money for what it truly is: a tool that can serve their mission in this world. Have you ever stopped to examine your own beliefs about money? Maybe at some point in your life, you heard that money is the root of all evil, or that truly good people must reject the material. Reflect. Do these beliefs really belong to you, or are they thoughts inherited from past generations? Thoughts that, while well-intentioned, limit your ability to live fully? It is important to remember that ultimately, money is a reflection of our inner state, of how we feel about abundance and life itself. If we see money from a place of fear, suspicion, or rejection, it is likely that our experience with it will be limited and challenging. But if we see it as an extension of our energy, as a tool for manifestation, then we can start to create a more harmonious relationship with it. Imagine for a moment, what would happen if, instead of seeing money as something that interferes with our peace, we began to see it as an ally, as a resource that can help us multiply our impact and our abilities? Because that's what money ultimately is: a tool for manifestation, an opportunity to shape our dreams and to help others do the same. One of the main reasons why many spiritual people experience financial scarcity has to do with the limiting beliefs they have built around money. These beliefs, although often unnoticed, have a deep impact on their financial reality and on the way they experience abundance in their lives. Many of us have heard phrases like, "Money is the root of all evil," or "money corrupts." And even if we don't repeat those words consciously, they may have become hidden patterns that condition how we relate to the material. Sometimes we even think that to have a spiritual intention and aspire to prosperity are two opposing forces, when in reality they can complement each other deeply and harmoniously. But what happens when these beliefs go unquestioned? They simply become mental and emotional barriers that do not allow us to access abundance in a genuine and free way. If you've ever found yourself thinking that desiring financial comfort is incompatible with the spiritual path, or that money could divert you from your true purposes, it's worth stopping to explore those ideas. Ask yourself, where do these beliefs come from? Who taught you that money is a burden, or that wanting it is an act of selfishness? Often, it's not something we decided consciously, but a set of ideas absorbed from our family, our culture, or the belief systems around us. These ideas become a kind of hidden truth that dictates our relationship with abundance without us realizing it. This is where it's crucial to remember that abundance in all its forms is a natural expression of our connection to life. Abundance is not limited to the material, it is also emotional, spiritual, and creative. When we understand that abundance is a natural right, part of our essence as spiritual and conscious beings, then we can start to question those limiting beliefs. Scarcity is not the norm, but a mental construction that reflects our inner state. In fact, when we live in inner abundance, the universe responds accordingly. What we see around us is a reflection of how we perceive life and how we perceive ourselves. Reflect. What kind of thoughts come up for you when you think about money? Are they thoughts of openness, gratitude, and acceptance, or thoughts of fear, rejection, or guilt? This exercise of self-observation can be the first step in releasing limiting beliefs. As you become more aware of your automatic thoughts about money, you can start to choose those that align with your desire to live fully. Material abundance does not have to be seen as an obstacle, but as a natural extension of spiritual abundance. A very common belief is to think that money brings problems, or that wealth leads to suffering. And although it's true that some people can use money in harmful ways, this does not mean that money itself is the cause of those actions. Money is just a resource that magnifies the intention of whoever possesses it. If your intention is to live consciously and contribute to the well-being of others, money will be a tool that reflects and amplifies that purpose. The true source of any act is in the intention, not in the resource. Here's a simple exercise to begin transforming our relationship with money. Practice gratitude. Consciously give thanks each time money comes into your life in any amount or form. When you receive money, instead of seeing it as a mundane transaction, recognize it as an exchange of energy that helps you meet your needs and fulfill your purposes. Changing the way we perceive money can open the door to a more balanced and harmonious relationship with it. Also consider this. Money is just one of the many ways in which abundance can manifest in your life. If you start to see prosperity in other areas, in your relationships, your health, your life experiences, it's likely that little by little it will also be reflected in your financial situation. This change in focus reminds us that abundance does not depend solely on having a high bank balance, but on living fully and purposefully in all aspects of our existence. Remember that a life of abundance is not just about having material possessions, but about living in harmony with the universe, in a state of constant gratitude. When we stop rejecting money and instead accept it as a tool for expansion, the perspective changes. We begin to see money as a resource that supports our life mission. This change in perspective can open us to new opportunities, not just financial ones but in every area of our lives. For many people, the word abundance is associated only with the material, but in reality, abundance is an unlimited energy that can manifest in many ways. Sometimes, limiting our vision to the idea of financial scarcity prevents us from seeing the multiple ways in which we are already rich in our daily lives. When we cultivate a consciousness of abundance in all its forms, our life reflects that fullness. Then, money ceases to be a source of worry or conflict and becomes another expression of our inner peace. We can do a simple but powerful exercise in observation. The next time you use money, whether to buy something, pay a bill, or make a donation, stop for a moment and observe how you feel. Is it a feeling of fear, doubt, resistance, or do you feel gratitude, satisfaction, and freedom? Allow yourself to observe without judging. This conscious practice will help you bring clarity and recognize if there are any limiting beliefs that may be keeping you from living in full abundance. By observing our thoughts and emotions around money, we begin to dismantle the narrative that spirituality and abundance are incompatible. True spirituality is based on living authentically, and that includes living in harmony with all aspects of life, including the material. By recognizing that we can be at peace with money without fear of losing our essence, we open space for abundance to manifest naturally in our lives, without guilt or rejection. To begin living from a conscious abundance mindset, we need a profound shift in how we perceive money and how we integrate it into our lives. It's not just about repeating affirmations or doing occasional exercises. It's about reprogramming our internal relationship with prosperity and accepting that money is an energy that can coexist with a spiritual life. One first step in this process is the practice of visualization. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself receiving money with gratitude and using it consciously. Imagine it flowing to you and through you, like a current of energy that enables you to achieve your goals, support others, and live with tranquility. As you do this, notice if you feel any inner resistance or if any thoughts arise that question the legitimacy of this abundance. It's normal for doubts or conflicting feelings to arise at first. These are just signs of the beliefs we need to let go of. Another powerful technique is to work with conscious affirmations that reinforce a positive and conflict-free relationship with money. Some affirmations that may help include, money is a reflection of the abundance that already exists within me. I am worthy of living in prosperity, and this prosperity allows me to contribute to the well-being of others. Or, I accept money as a tool that supports my life purpose. When we repeat these affirmations sincerely, we begin to change the internal programming that may be blocking the manifestation of resources in our life. In this process of mental reprogramming, it's important to remember that abundance is not something that is found outside of us. It arises from our own consciousness. When we start to live from a mindset of sufficiency and gratitude, the universe responds in unexpected ways. Opportunities, resources, and connections begin to align with this new energy. It's not about attracting external things, but about expanding what we already carry within, and allowing that to be reflected in our reality. At the same time, for many people on a spiritual path, accepting economic abundance means letting go of the idea that the material is superficial or corrupt. Often, this rejection comes from a false dichotomy that divides the spiritual from the material, but in reality both aspects can coexist and enrich each other. By allowing ourselves to enjoy financial well-being, we have more freedom to live and share our life mission, to help others, and to contribute to the world from a place of generosity and wholeness. Don't forget that the relationship with money is personal and unique. What resonates for one person may be different for another, and it's okay for everyone to discover their own balance. The key is to find a point where money is a supportive tool, without becoming a source of anxiety or attachment. By integrating this vision into your life, you'll see how your spiritual path and your relationship with the material can nourish each other without conflict. If you've made it this far, remember that the journey toward conscious abundance is a constant practice of self-knowledge and transformation. It's not about achieving a state of perfection, but about living each day as a process of learning and openness to what the universe has to offer. Reflect on your beliefs, observe your thoughts, and allow yourself to experience prosperity from a new perspective, without guilt or fear. If this reflection resonated with you, comment, "I am abundant," and share what you feel or your own experiences with abundance. See you soon, stay awake and aware.